What's up, guys? Today we're working on how to get into our turns properly. Line selection. I work with a lot of riders that they just can't get their lines right, and you're going to see a few clips in here, by the way, from the last video. If you haven't seen that, I'll leave a clip up above so you can take a look at it. But like, look here. I'm going a little bit slower this lap. I'm just showing. Look how I'm even on my slow lap, setting up wide on these corners. I had a couple comments saying, Grant, in your videos, you're going faster than I go. How do I know these things apply to me? Well, just remember, if I'm going these speeds with these line selections and these techniques, and I look smooth doing it, I don't look out of control, well, the same can apply to you as you progress. Okay, so don't get the idea that you have to go my speed for these things to work. The point I want to get across to everybody is these things will work and allow you to get to the higher speed and ride smoother and safer all together at the same time as you apply them. Okay, so we're watching these clips here and we're focusing on how much am I opening up my entries coming into these corners. I see a lot of time riders are chopping their turns. They're not opening their corners properly. So look, I slow this down here, and as I slow it down, look how wide I am. I'm at the edge of the track here, setting up as I'm coming in to this corner. And I start sweeping in. I'm entering the corner from the widest place possible. We'll get into why I'm doing that here in a second. But then watch as I exit the corner, I start leaning towards the left. Look, I'm at the far right edge, and then I'm facing the left edge of the track. Well, it's because the berm is turning to the right. I'm trying to set up now to give myself the biggest entry possible for this next turn. You can see I'm on the far left edge entering this berm. I can now carry maximum amount of momentum through the corner. Same thing here. Look, I'm jumping from the left side a little bit over to the right. Be careful doing this if you have people around you. You don't want to cross jump anybody. But you see, by doing that, it set me up to the right. And now look at the angle of my bike coming in the corner. My bike is in line with the turn. I'm not having to turn sharp. It's a sweeper turn. I'm making the turn as big as possible. All right. So as I come out, same exact thing. Look how far to the right edge I am. I'm all the way to the right, opening my entry, opening my exit rather, to make the turn as big as possible. Well, if you trained with me before, you know I like to talk about NASCAR, for example. Look at the green line. That's where all the drivers are going. They're going from the outside wall to the inside stripe, back to the outside wall. They're making this turn as straight as possible. Now, a lot of people say, well, the shortest way around the track is if I followed this red line here, inside all the way around. Yes, that is shorter. A shorter distance would be faster in theory, but you have to slow down a lot more, which is going to cause you to lose momentum, which is going to have to cause you to re-accelerate very aggressively. And if you watch my last video, again, I left the tag for you. It's down in the description as well. I talked about the seesaw. If you're getting on the gas heavy and then brakes and back and forth, or even if you're doing it just once and it's good, but you're doing it aggressively, you're affecting the action of the suspension. And that's going to give you the seesaw motion that makes the bike unstable. Well, then you would say, well, if opening the entries makes so much sense, why don't we just take the outside all the way around? Well, if you look at the NASCAR track here, it's a little bit of a sharper turn at the beginning and end of these corners. Yes, the actual curve is bigger and straighter than the inside, but it has a sharper turn. So we have to make this turn, and remember that we want this turn to be as straight as possible, not as big as possible. So if we look back here again, green line, we're making the turn as straight as we can. The straighter the line, the faster you can go, okay? And this will apply to anything except for what we're going to get into here just in a second. There are some variations to this, but you always remember, in NASCAR, they're riding on perfectly smooth asphalt, concrete, whatever it is. We don't in motocross. We have bumps, we have ruts, we have rocks, we have split lanes with rollers and jumps and all these different things that can cause variables. Just like with this right here, we've got ruts all over the place. Holy smokes, what do we do here? We got a roller on the inside. We have a little bit of a knee berm on the outside. We've got 15 lines to choose from, okay? So the general rule is going to tell us we need to open our entry, but how do we know? Let's say we're trying to go to this inside here. Well, we have 6 lines to choose from for this one little 3-foot wide area coming into this roller. And then let's say if we even wanted to go to the outside line, it's no different. We have 5 lines to go into this 3-4 foot little spot, and there's even more lines once we get into the turn. So that's where things in motocross are different than NASCAR, but the same rule always applies. If you can find in this situation, whatever the smoothest line is basically going to be your fastest, But if you have two lines that offer you different examples or different options coming into your corner, well, the straighter one is almost always going to be faster because it's allowing you to carry the most speed, and it's giving you the least likely chance to have to regain as much momentum. Now look here, I chopped the corner off. I came in a little bit narrow. You see how unstable the back of my bike was, versus here, I open it up, I come in, I sweep out wide, my bike's very stable. Now let's slow this down. I come in, I'm chopping it off. I have to brake heavily, turn sharp, accelerate right here. Okay, then watch my bike. It's very unstable as I come out. The back end starts skipping around on me. It's because I'm trying to accelerate so hard. Versus here, I'm carrying momentum in. My bike is stable. I'm rolling the throttle on. And then you watch as I accelerate all the way up to this jump. My bike is very stable. I'm not trying to gain or regain a bunch of momentum and put my bike under extra load that it doesn't need to be under, because I was able to maintain and carry that momentum and roll that throttle on properly.
So if you look at coming out of this corner, I'm a little bit to the left what the main line would be, but I'm doing that because I'm trying to straighten out and make one turn connect to the next easier. Now, as I come into this right-hand turn, it's a little bit of a shallow rut. You can't push shallow ruts very hard, especially with soft dirt. So the straighter I can make this turn, the less likely I am to push and blow this berm out. If you're somebody that tends to blow berms out or stuff the front end a lot, it could be just your approach to the corners. All you need to do just to fix that. Of course, there could be other variables, but that would obviously be something that you could work on. Now you see I'm coming to this next obstacle. Look, I'm bringing myself to the left edge of the track here. I'm setting myself up to when I come off the back side of this obstacle, I'm ready for the next obstacle, which in this case is going to be a turn. So I'm as far left as possible, and it's bringing me to where I have the best approach I can coming into this turn. Again, setting myself up and planning for what the next obstacle ahead is. Now, by bringing myself from the left, I'm bringing myself a little bit to the right. So notice right here, I'm in the middle of that jump. I brought myself over throughout the section. So again, same thing. I'm going from the right edge of the track, bringing myself towards the left to open up for this berm. I'm using as much of this berm as I can to make my turn as big as I can. And watch, as I hit this jump, I work my way, I'm now at the middle of the jump, and I work my way over to the right. Now, situations like this, you have to be situationally aware of the people around you. If someone's near you, you cannot be moving your lines around. You do have to ride a bit straighter, but you know the premise of what you should be doing is opening your entries and opening your exits. Now, let's bring it back to a super rutted rough track. Now, the third line from the far left here, you can see is probably the line that's getting used the most. Honestly, if I was going outside, I would probably go one line over from that to the right. So the fourth line from the far left, to me, probably looks like it's the best one. Now, of course, it's not the biggest entry, but like I said earlier, there are variables. Whenever you have ruts, bumps, rocks, whatever it is, there are things that are going to change the decisions on the lines that you have to take. Now, if you look at the right side, let's say we're going inside again. Now, honestly, that far right, it's barely even a line. Even though it's the furthest inside line, that might actually be a good line for you. If you don't manage bumps well, maybe that is a good line for you to hit. Even though it's on the very, very edge of the track and it's barely even a line, then that might be a good line for you. But the one line over from that, it's super narrow. I don't know if I would want to take that line just because there's more risk there. The dirt is falling in a little bit, better chance of it grabbing the sides of my tires, pulling me around. So in this turn, as far as the inside goes, honestly, I would probably take that line that's right dead center in the track, and it's the farthest left line that would set me up for the roller. So I'd either go to that far left one for the roller or the far, far right one for the roller. There's always different options whenever you have tracks like this. It causes a lot of separation because you might have one line that is amazing, and then 4 laps later it sucks because everybody's hitting that same line and it's getting beat up and broken down and it's making the track harder for you to ride. So at the end of the day, all you have to do is just plan ahead. As long as you're planning ahead and you're trying to make one section connect to the next, you're going to be able to piece a track together. Riders will tend to end up getting stuck on what they're seeing in front of them, whether it be a section like this or it's a certain jump that makes them nervous. And then you start to think and fixate on that one certain thing, whatever that thing is. And it makes you not plan ahead, and you stop thinking about what's coming up. You start thinking about what's happening now. And like I said a second ago, with motocross, we cannot think about what's happening in front of us. We have to think about what's coming up next in front of that thing. Because if you're not planning ahead, then you're not going to be able to connect one section to the next. and it's going to make you start getting this situation where you're freezing up. You're dropping your eyes. You're looking down in front of you. You're not carrying your eyes through the section, and it's forcing you to get in a position where you get to a section like this, and you're like, holy smokes, what do I do now? And you just go wherever you go, and now you're on the brakes harder than you should be. You're chopping the throttle. Now you're starting to get that teeter-totter action that we talk about. And it's just making everything harder for you, and it's making the track harder for you to ride, and it's making it harder for you to piece the track together. So at the end of the day, what we always have to come back to is to remember to always make the track as straight as possible. The straighter the track, the more it connects, the more we plan ahead, the more we can make these tracks work in our favor, and we don't get that nervous, everything's coming up in our face kind of feeling. If this video helped you guys, if there's other ideas that you have, please leave a comment. I'd like to know that these videos are helping y'all, or if there's other videos y'all like to see. Maybe there's a different style of video you'd like to see. Bike setup, techniques, whatever it is, mindset things. Whatever you want to see, leave a comment down below. Let me know. I'd be happy to make the video so I can help you guys out, and I'll see you guys in the next ones.